Hello good people, and welcome to my channel and my first video ever. Today we will be discussing chronic illness, what it is, what it's like to have it a little bit, and 5 of my top coping strategies for dealing with some of the problems that come up when you're living with chronic illness. Stay till the end for my 5 top coping skills that'll help you deal with your chronic illness. They're not in any particular order, it's just things that I thought of that I find useful in my life and I thought I would pass along to you, the good people of YouTube. So what is a chronic illness? A chronic illness is an ongoing medical condition that may last for weeks, months, years, the rest of your life. It's something that you've had for a while. It's not just something that you wake up with one day out of the blue. I mean, you might, but it still takes a while to develop and be considered chronic. It may or may not have a cure. Not all chronic illnesses have a cure. My particular chronic illness does not, as of yet, have a cure, although there are treatments for it. It usually requires ongoing medical treatment or intervention. You should usually see a doctor if you have a chronic illness so that you can get on a treatment plan and your symptoms can be managed, because as I mentioned earlier, it may or may not have a cure. A lot of them don't. So you want to be sure that you stay on top of your symptoms and optimize your life as best as possible if you can. Chronic illnesses also limit the activities of daily living, so whether this is work, school, your social life, all of the above. Chronic illness stops you, or at least tries to wear you down when you're trying to do certain things, like go out with your friends or work a 40-hour work week or get A's in school. It's a lot to deal with on top of the pressures of life. Anyway, that's basically what a chronic illness is, my quick little summary of it. I'm sure that's not the best definition in the world, but you get the idea. More specifically, I have something called POTS, Postural Orthostatic Tachycardia Syndrome, and that is a type of dysautonomia. That is the umbrella term. Dysautonomia is a term for medical conditions that cause a malfunction of the autonomic nervous system. POTS, Postural Orthostatic Tachycardia Syndrome, or POTS as I'm going to be referring to it from here out, is a type of dysautonomia. POTS is a type of dysautonomia that causes orthostatic intolerance associated with the presence of an excessively fast heart rate, or tachycardia. So basically, when you stand up, your heart races at least 30 beats per minute faster than it's supposed to, sometimes much faster. A lot of people have their blood pressure affected as well. Luckily, I don't have that type of POTS, but it makes you very dizzy and you feel horrible. POTS has many symptoms which can vary from person to person, but it can include certain signs like dizziness, brain fog, low blood volume, headaches, the list goes on and on. It's also associated with certain other conditions like Ehlers-Danlos or gastroparesis, which I have personally. But overall, POTS and all my other conditions make me feel like I have the flu 24/7. I'm shaky, I'm sweaty, I can't sleep, I'm exhausted. It goes on and on. I'm in pain all over. I don't want to harp on it too much, but just to touch on it briefly, that's a little bit of what I'm going through on a daily basis. I also have chronic pain and gastroparesis, as I mentioned earlier, so I have constant all over pain from head to toe. That's especially terrible in the neck and the shoulders and the arms. My arms actually tingle and go numb, and to the point where I can't use them for regular activities. And the gastroparesis, it really upsets my stomach. I have a hard time eating anything. I get very nauseous. I actually throw up sometimes. It just makes eating a very difficult task, and I wouldn't be able to eat without medication. Look to my next video for details of my chronic illness and how it impacts me, and basically what it's like to live with this chronic illness on a daily basis in my next video. I'll be sure to touch on all that and give you guys all the details if you're interested in knowing about me. And it may enlighten you as well to what other people going through similar situations are feeling. I hope so anyway. So yeah, look for that in my next video. All right, you made it. It's time for my top 5 coping skills for dealing with chronic illness. They are not in any particular order, like I mentioned earlier. They are just things that came to me that I use in my daily life to try and make things a little bit better. All of them help me a little bit. None of them are going to save you. None of them are going to like be a miracle cure, but every little bit counts and helps. My first tip is to sit down or get comfortable when you can. Whether that's cooking, showering, getting ready, working at your job if possible, and definitely at bedtime, you should get comfortable as soon as possible. Maximizing your comfort helps maximize your productivity, at least for me. When you have a good night's sleep on a comfortable mattress, you just feel better. For me, it feels a little bit less like normal than I got hit by a Mack truck the day before, so that's always an improvement. I invested in my mattress because it really makes a difference for me. Having that foam top, it just makes such a difference in my life. My body aches less. It's just really would recommend investing in something like that if you get body aches and pains throughout the night especially. It helps keep my arm pain and my neck pain levels in check. I wouldn't say it solves anything, like I said, but the mattress definitely helps. I find if I'm doing something in my waking life and I am comfortable, or at least not stressing my body as much as usual, it's less physically exerting and I'm able to keep doing things for longer than I would be able to if I didn't make these modifications. That may seem obvious, but I'm never not one to belabor a point. You could catch me on repeat many times throughout this video, I'm sure. I realize not everybody is ready or in the position to just go out and buy a new mattress, but you can start with smaller little changes around your house and around your workplace if you want to. Take some small comfort measures. Sit down to chop those veggies. Get a seat cushion for your office chair. Get a neck pillow for your morning makeup routine. Experiment and find whatever makes you the most comfortable so that you can take some of the pressure off of your body when you're doing everyday tasks that are necessary for most of us to function in the world. Experiment and find what works for you and your pain situation and brings you some comfort. Okay, so this may be a little intimate for our first date, but real facts. Showering is exhausting. Let's talk about it. Showering is an exhausting feat that I find I often avoid more than I should just because it causes me so much pain and just makes me so tired afterwards. I feel like I just ran a marathon and I ache from head to toe. It usually wipes me out for the day. If I take a shower, that's like the one big thing I do that day because it takes up most of my spoons and my energy just to like get through the process. I literally have to plan my whole schedule around when I can manage to take a shower. Do other people have this problem or am I just gross and weird? Comment down below. My pots just make standing and heat a toxic combination, which is just literally like running a marathon for me. Like I said before, it causes my heart rate to shoot up, my blood pools in my legs. It is not cute. On top of that, my arms start to go numb when I use them to bathe and shave myself, so that's cute. It all adds up to a nightmare of an experience every time. Plus, my parents have a terrible hot water heater. There's never enough warm water in the basement. But anyway, back to better things. I found that sitting down helps me tremendously with my exhaustion and pain when it comes to taking a shower. I bought a waterproof shower stool with adjustable legs so it can make it the right height for my bathtub, and it has made all the difference in the world. So like I'm saying, sit down. Sitting down in the shower helps save me energy and stops the blood from pooling in my legs as much as it would otherwise. Although, honestly, it still does it a little bit, but it's much less strenuous to be sitting most of the time than it is to be standing. It lets me rest a little bit more so then I can use that energy that I would have put into like just supporting myself and use it in showering my hair, shaving my legs, just doing these maintenance things that make me feel better. It's not as much of a struggle as if I were standing the whole time. Same goes with chopping vegetables. It's much easier if I'm sitting down at the kitchen table than if I have to stand there and support myself the whole time and chop. Getting work done, editing videos, I do that on my iPad lying down so it's most comfortable for me so I can be as productive as possible, if you would call this productive. Anyway, If washing your hair and shaving seems too overwhelming or ambitious for you, it's okay. It might be a lot for one time. You can split it into shorter showers that are maybe closer together so you can still get everything done in the same amount of time, but you don't have to do it all in one day. If that's easier for you, by all means go for it. The most important thing is that you're showering and washing your body, because that is taking care of you, and that is important. Don't let your personal cleanliness go to the wayside just because you're feeling bad. If you can, make the effort. It's worth it. But any type of shower is a victory in my book, and it should be in yours too. What matters most is that you're taking care of yourself and your body, so get comfortable. Whether it's chair cushions, mattress toppers, or shower stools, I definitely recommend starting to make these little purchases in your life so you can improve your comfort level. Invest in whatever you need and reasonably can to make your body as comfortable as possible during the daily living activities. It makes a huge difference, trust me. Do whatever you can to make sure your body feels supported on a regular basis. Start out with small changes and see what helps. All these little things add up and make a difference for me and help improve the quality of my life in the long run. Every little thing adds up, so don't knock it until you try it. Number 2, ask for help when you need it. Ask family, friends, neighbors, coworkers. Don't be ashamed to be honest about how you're feeling and ask for help if you need it. Not everyone wants to hear it, but people that care about you and have an understanding of what's going on will be more than happy to jump in and help you. Not everyone will understand, but especially close friends and family that have seen you go through chronic illness and have been with you for years will usually be more than happy to pitch in and help you if you ask for it. They understand that you're suffering. Even if they don't understand exactly what you're going through, they can see that you're struggling if you just explain to them and are honest with them about what you're feeling and your condition and your level of functionality. Physical help from others can make a huge quality of life difference. Emotional support is also super important when you're sick. You aren't in this alone. There are other people out there that understand the struggle, or at least are going through a similar struggle themselves. For me, finding a group of people online that share in my illness, POTS and dysautonomia, has been super inspiring and refreshing and enlightening for me to see and talk with the other people and just understand what they're feeling, what they're going through, their symptoms even, so I can compare and see, is this a POTS situation or is this something else going on? Or at least get an idea. You can obviously not know definitively, but it helps to see that other people are going through the same struggles as you emotionally and physically with their health. It's also just a great way to vent and joke around with people who get it, because not everybody in your life is going to understand. The people who matter will make an effort to understand, but not everybody will. I found a POTS community on Facebook through an organization called Dysautonomia International, and it's been great for companionship and just understanding and just venting, really, and talking to other people about what I'm going through and asking them if they've ever been through anything similar, and just hearing their stories on a daily basis, or just posting funny memes sometimes that they'll laugh at because they understand chronic illness too. Dysautonomia International has been an amazing resource for me. It has so much information, and you can commiserate with other people and just get to know people in your area who are also suffering from POTS or whatever your illness is. I'm sure there's an organization that is out there doing something similar to Dysautonomia International. And if there isn't, maybe you could start one. A Facebook group, not a whole organization. It's also a great way to get questions answered by people that have been in your shoes and have literally seen the same doctors as you sometimes, so they know the experience that you're going through pretty much identically. I've even been to and hosted a few in-person meetings, pre-COVID of course, but they have virtual meetups from time to time now, and I'm sure there will be in-person meetings again one day. Meeting with local POTSies was just a great way to start to get to know people in the community. There is strength in numbers, I promise. Ask for whatever kind of help you need. That is my tip. reach out to the people that love you and support you, and put yourself out there, be honest with them, and ask them for what you need. Number 3, know your limits. Rest when you need to, stop when you have to, and be mindful of how hard you're pushing yourself on any given day. Your body has limits and will let you know if you've exceeded those limits. And at least for me, there is usually a high price to pay if I push my body too far past its limits. That's not saying you should never push yourself to accomplish a task or a goal or whatever, but maybe set up a situation so you don't have to get everything done at once, or in an emergency, don't procrastinate to the last minute so that you are forced to get things done on a certain day. You may feel terrible. Try and get things done when you can, as they come up. That's my best advice anyway. You may feel less productive for the day, but then if you push yourself too hard and you're like me, then you'll get completely sick and exhausted and really feel like you got hit by a truck, and then you won't be able to get anything done for days usually. So in the long run, what's less productive? It's probably easier to just do smaller things each day, or when you feel like it, or when you feel up to it, I should say. I forget what I was saying. If you push yourself until you're beyond out of spoons, it will take several days to recover, most likely, and then you really won't get anything done. It's better to just do a little here and there when you feel like you're up to it, rather than to try and push yourself all at once, or push yourself when you're not feeling well. When you have a bad day, when you have a flare-up. You need to just respect that and respect your body's limits and rest as best as possible. Of course, there are certain obligations you can't avoid, like if you're a parent, say, but do your best to take care of you and rest. Don't push yourself to do extra, I would say. Just keep it as simple as possible on your bad days. Remember, listen to your body. You really can't do much without it, can you? Number 4, accept yourself and your body. Acceptance means coming to terms with your chronic illness. If you have a diagnosis already, congratulations. That was an accomplishment in and of itself. But, get educated about your disease or condition. Make sure you look it up. Don't just rely on what you heard in the office. Be your own best advocate and educate yourself about your condition so that you can fight for the best treatment options and you can fight for your health, and just don't rely on other people to tell you everything about your condition. Look into it yourself and make your best judgment. You know your body, you're living it, you're experiencing it, you have good intuition about it. Be your own best advocate. Listen to your doctors if you trust them, and if you don't trust them, find doctors that you do trust. If your doctor thinks it's all in your head, or you're just depressed, or you just need to go on a walk, things like that, get a new doctor. Get a doctor that believes you and will look for the problem and give you real answers. Find a doctor with which you have a good relationship and where you feel like they're helping you and they're really doing their best and trying every test and treatment that they can to get you answers, and not only get you answers, but help you feel better too, because really that's the end goal of any treatment, is to feel better, or at least feel as best as you can. It may be hard to accept what's going on and accept that things have maybe changed from what they were before, and that this might be a forever change and that it could possibly get worse. Yeah, that's all true and that's scary, but you have to learn to live with it. It's such an important step in learning to live with chronic illness, is to accept where you are right now and where you might be going, but most importantly, where you are right now. Doesn't mean we give up, it just means we carry on, armed with knowledge and a plan of action. Acceptance is by no means easy, but if you've had a chronic illness for a long time, you'll come to understand that it just changes your life, and it's hard to imagine, it's hard to accept. You miss the way things were, you feel bad because you can't keep up with the way you could with things before. You can't keep up with things the way you could before. Number 5, learn to care for you. Love yourself where you are and find ways of caring for yourself that feel nurturing and healing. Whether that's taking your medication every day, or using pain cream and a heating pad when your muscle flare is acting up, or just making a choice to eat well and exercise in a way that benefits your body. There's so many things you can do to optimize your health and care for your body, more importantly. For me personally, that means an anti-inflammatory gastroparesis-minded diet, because otherwise the food will not stay down and will not digest. So I have to be careful. I can't necessarily eat heavy foods like dense proteins, and I have to stick to more liquids, and usually, honestly, I eat more carbohydrates than I probably should, but it just feels better in my stomach. It digests easier, and that's the way I take care of myself. I listen to my body and what it needs and what it's telling me that it needs. Although I still do love me some ice cream, and that's taking care of yourself too. You gotta treat yourself every once in a while, you know? Life is miserable without it. Treats are definitely a must, and I think that's part of loving yourself too. To each what works best for them. Find a way, or several, of caring for your body that feels best to you. Don't lash out or hate your body because you feel like it's somehow betraying you or has failed you. I know those thoughts have probably crossed your mind. They've definitely crossed mine. Like, why are you doing this to me? What did I ever do to you? But it's not a personal attack. There's just something haywire going on with your system. Be kind to your vessel and realize how strong it must be to keep going through all these challenges. It's a fighter too. All right, fam, that is all I have for today. Thank you so much for watching my first video. Be sure to stay tuned and subscribe to my channel for new content. Be sure to give me a like if you enjoyed this video, please. And remember, chronic illness is just something you have. It doesn't have you, and it doesn't get to control your life. You've got this. Don't give up, stay strong, fight on. Thank you so much for watching. You can follow me on Instagram at @CEmilyPlay. This has been MZ Caps coming at you, not live, but on your YouTube. Okay, bye-bye.